All right, here we go again. Buckle up. So the judge invoked the Donald Trump defense. And I didn't think about it even when I first read that, but she, she actually has a defense, and there's a lot to it. Right. Well, first part is, what was he in the courtroom for, and did he ever return? Did he have to return later to adjudicate the case? So again, she might have an interest in him remaining a little longer for the case. Right. Well, they take him away, then she doesn't complete her case. So that's the first thing. Was there additional appearances scheduled for that particular defendant? All right, that's the first question. The next question, or not question, she obviously has an interest in people showing up to her courtroom. If she were to allow the defendant to be arrested in her courtroom by ICE, she might never have any additional Mexican nationals show up to her courtroom. So in the interest of her courthouse and her mission and her appointed duty, right, she might say, she's already said, I can't be arrested, it's my official duty. Correct. I didn't think of it until now. Right. Until she used that defense. Right. It's actually, the jails have less reason not to call you and not assist you than actually the judge. The judge actually has more of a requirement based upon her official duty. Look at jail, they arrest you and they take you to jail, and that's it. No. She might have thought that the courthouse would suffer irreparable harm. It sounds like that's where it's going to go, probably, if they would allow the arrest in the courtroom. No, to say you're not the only ones trying to effectuate justice. You could say something like that. Right. Thank you, Larry. So that case might not go as planned. And Homan was saying something where they said Homan, some sort of take he had on the illegal immigrant. I was trying to see if it was in line with what I was saying, where sanctuary cities don't necessarily help the entire illegal community or undocumented immigrant community, right? Well, because there's these crime bosses and shit, these crime syndicates, right? They're getting protected. Thank you, Larry. Look, I've lived in sanctuary cities where they attacked me deep state style, relentlessly, right? So I'm telling you right now, they're full of shit. But again, I don't want you arresting everyday people and calling them criminals. I'm not about that. Right. 100%, Larry. I agree, sir. But I'm not sure what Homan said. They hinted that he had a surprising take on sanctuary cities, and I was just listening to the beginning, and I'm telling you, they're witchy. I couldn't watch the whole thing. My finger hit the screen and it went blink and blinked away. Right. So she's probably not going to be. She'll get out of that case. Right. Well, she brought up official duty, official responsibility. Right. She's not required to turn somebody over to you. I really don't believe so. Right. If it involves what I'm saying it involves, or I think it involves, she has a requirement to effectuate her little piece of justice, right? And if she believes that arrest of a defendant would inhibit her ability to proceed in that proceeding, right? If there is additional proceedings, or have similarly situated people show up for court, right? Then which would fit because she says go talk to the chief judge. Thanks, Larry. Like believing that this shouldn't happen because it will affect our ability to have people show up for court. In fact, I don't know if that Mexican national had additional business in her court or not. So she may have been trying to finish the court process. I don't know. That sounds like somebody from hell. I'm not sure. They're like, why did I do this to you? I shouldn't have done this to you. It's something people in hell or something. Or maybe it's you people. I don't know. Thanks, Larry. Well, there could be an argument made. Right. She might be immune. Yeah, it's the same thing when two civil rights clash. Yeah, there's federal supremacy, but I don't think she's chargeable. I'm sorry. But if she articulates something similar to what I just said, which they'll probably do, well, she'll say we have another mission too. Than my job. I have a justice mission, right, or a criminal justice mission. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Larry. Well, I don't know. The judge has got to decide it. Well, again, there's a couple things that weigh in the disposition of that specific case, right? And the because it's not just her courtroom that she had because she said go speak to the chief judge. She could say, look, I was concerned about how it would affect the courthouse and the ability to have people show up in court. Right. And if there was future disposition for that particular defendant, she said, and I wanted to finish this case. And I had my own case that I had to handle with this guy. Right. But I don't know what the case was. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, sir. So it's same argument as Trump kind of. And again, federal supremacy does weigh in, but as far as arresting her, I don't know if that's going to be enough. Yeah, I was trying to go back and find out why that Mexican national was in court, so I could kind of figure it out, maybe. Thank you, sir. God bless you, Larry. God bless you, sir. It's actually a difficult case to prove, also. They're saying that the case isn't open and shut because there's not a lot of witnesses to the whole thing. As to what she said, like her statements are going to be difficult to refute, is what something's saying. If she said she was just simply doing her job, and yeah, I definitely. They're saying somebody's saying that your doctor should have gave you shots of non-steroidal inflammatories if you couldn't take it in your stomach. They're saying the whole thing is insane that you weren't treated over those years. No, it's deep state. How should they do? Throw everything off. That's how they kill people. Sorry, sir. I'm really sorry. Well, the thing is not to obsess over every jot and tittle of case. Right. Told you that before. Because that's how you make mistakes and you obsess over things. Thank you, Larry. So what I'm doing right now is I'm comparing having made this meal offline and making this meal online and the difference in my capabilities and what's coming against it. So I know you're all here cursing me and cursing what I'm doing. Now, God just told me that's what I was doing, but sometimes I'll do it in first person. God bless you, sir. God bless you. There's no way that I wasn't supposed to be taking the things I'm taking now. Right. Other than shut my mind down a little bit. I couldn't even think. Again, the curses are real. The spells are real. Thanks, Larry. There's thousands and thousands of agents that are implicated in this type of activity. It's horrific. Well, if it's not prosecutable, then there maybe another case will come along, and that's it. Goes, and that's the same. What she said goes to the Democratic Party people. It just depends how it. Like if it's a melee back and forth, then right, right. No, we tried to prosecute an assault on a federal officer case. You have to be careful on those, right? I mean, you can try them, but if it's not like an open and shut idea. Well, if they claim that you were assaulting them and they can show video where you were on them, right? Because like you see with Donald, this is like a lesson. They're using the Donald Trump defense, right? But you see it cuts both ways, see? Right. They don't have as much immunity as the president, but they have immunity. That's what I was telling you. I already said that once, but not the same way. That right. Members of Congress have immunity. It just depends. They could say that they feel that the ICE people were corruptly doing something, and that they were simply defending themselves and defending their colleague. Right. They're going over in the minds like where the line is, or perceived line. You might say also he was just maintaining integrity of the court function until she would find out the court's stance on it. Right. What's her function? I don't have to find out why he was in the courtroom. Why was the undocumented immigrant in Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom? That's her name. I don't know. Yeah. I'll figure this out. Okay. Okay. Right. She could simply say, "Look, I didn't want this guy arrested. I have an obligation and a duty to see this trial through, or this case through." Right. Well, it's an ongoing case in her courtroom. Right. That mucks it up. Agreed. She could say, "I wanted him to show up in the next proceeding." Right. Right. He probably wouldn't. Bottom line, if ICE arrested him, he probably would not have been available for the next proceeding. So what I'm saying is that it looks like it looks like it's not going to work. It's just court versus court. I mean, I could be wrong, but right, right. No, it wasn't. It didn't reach final disposition, and maybe that's what the agents should look into next time, or the ICE people. Bother him. Thanks, Larry. Right. Wait for final disposition. And I guess he could have been arrested, or he could have been ordered to right do jail time. Right. Which I guess could have made it more difficult to actually find him when it's all said and done. Right. Thank you, Larry. What kind of judge is Judge Hannah Dugan? She serves as executive director for Catholic Charities USA in Southeast Wisconsin. Well, again, let me see the hearing here. All right. Yeah, I'm just reading through this here. I guess there are a couple steps she took that kind of screw her defense, but again, I'm reading Wikipedia, so. Right. She actually ran nonpartisan, or is it nonpartisan? Okay, so. Well, one of the questions that we get to now. Thank you, Larry. Sorry. Is again, even though she didn't hold the proceeding because they were there, what was her intention? If her intention was to preserve the sanctity of her proceeding in the courthouse, then again, the chief judge did rule that the arrest could take place. Right. Well, 6 officers were there because it's a violent crime and they was accused of. Right. He's accused of a crime of violence. Correct, Larry. No agents or person. He looks to be maybe a sizable guy. I don't know. Oh, it's a reentry case. He's a reentry case on top of it. Right. Well, that shows, failure to follow the court's instructions. Right. I'm sure reentry. Then he already knows that he was deported and he's not to come back. Right. But it still might not work. They asked him to turn down music. The roommate said Mr. Flores Ruiz struck him about 30 times. He also hit the roommate's girlfriend and her cousin. Right. Well, he's a reentry case, and they definitely wouldn't have any less than four. I don't actually three. Three would be the minimum if they couldn't spare officers. Right. But six is not unheard of. Right. Because he was accused of a crime of violence. And he's still in trial for it. Yeah. So again, I'm snoozing here, but I'm reading too. Okay. Right. It could have been a little bit of an overkill, but he had a crime of violence. I mean, it's a misdemeanor, but a lot of places that would be a felony, right? Or it could be a felony. Maybe even there they just charge it that way. Yeah. So he wasn't being deported based upon that incident. He wasn't even supposed to be here. I don't know how he didn't get caught, but right. He's an illegal reentry case. They can never be allowed to stay, as far as I know, unless if you help the government substantially, they might come up with something. But right. I wouldn't hold that military parade. Right. Calvinistic monk and government building. And neither of Marco Rubio's parents was a citizen at time of his birth in 1971 in Miami. Just reading the Drudge headlines. Thanks, Larry. Well, if she believes that was part of her job to protect that individual based upon the necessity for that individual to show up in court and for the courthouse not to, that is an issue, right? Well, because now, especially with what just happened, they might, even though they were protecting him, I guess now they figure, right? Denver airport hit with outage. All right, that's probably it. Okay. Yeah, I think the argument goes both ways. It just depends whether the judge buys into the fact that she had some sort of official responsibility. Again, the chief judge saying no, you don't, would kind of hurt it, but they're calling the defendant in, or the detainee, deportee, so I don't know what they're going to ask him. Right. But if she says, hey, I was doing this because I had to do this, I had to adjudicate this case down the road. I want him to show up to court. Right. Of course, you won't probably, but wouldn't. Right. And obviously, based upon her history, would you really expect her to act any other different way? Well, Catholic charities cater to the immigrant community. We understand the Lycan rallies and all that. Right. I'm not saying she was right, but I was the one that told you to arrest him years ago. I also told you to park a bus outside the jail with ICE people in a processing center. Have like a command center with a processing center in it. And when they come out, you book them and call your agents over to transport. Can't believe she did this. Man, I didn't have to stay tight like that. They got my mind. I couldn't get anywhere. I tried getting a massage. Like, if you don't let them stalk me, I could get everywhere. Right. I mean, there is residual damage, but yeah, you let them do it to me. What can I say? 100% Mary. Amazing I stayed as healthy as did as long as I did. I mean, they're pretty evil. No, my my therapist was in a better mood today. I don't know what was going on. Right. It's definitely kind of working because like certain things I couldn't push through before, I'm starting to push through. Right. Where I would just wait around for nothing to happen. Yeah, they reeled me down. What can I say? Kind of sucks being at this part of the life and never having lived your life. I mean, I lived a life. I lived an isolated life where I healed probably millions of people through all the things that I did. Right. Maybe even more than millions. I don't know if it's trillions, but maybe billions. I'm actually God's best friend. In the Mormon world, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? That somebody could be God's best friend, right? And Jesus' his brother. But I still don't see everything being 100% in their scripture. I don't know if that rules me out as being a LDS. Well, because God does have there is a God that is the supreme being concept, not just like the God that's in the LDS thing, like something much more supernatural. Correct. Well, it doesn't matter. Everybody else has got bullshit in their stuff. Right? God told me every scripture, every religion has some bullshit somewhere, and Jews know that. Like Jews already acknowledge it. I wouldn't call it bullshit, but right. Well, I'm getting baptized as a favor to the missionaries. They work so hard. I do respect hard, spiritual work. They're kind of faltering at the end, but I guess they're tired. I imagine Satan's been trying to kill them. I'll meet him in heaven. I'll probably be the person I really am. Thank you. Or unless God has us meet somewhere else. Because what happens is, right, we might have some work to do. I might be your boss. Thanks, Larry. You might have to do some work in the spirit world here on earth. Thanks, Larry. Well, yeah. Being exalted isn't all that it's cracked up to be. I know for a fact that the greatest pleasure, at least for me, again, I'm an angel, but the greatest pleasure for me is that service. So I don't see you LDS people, most of you, running off to be in some exalted location. It's God. You see what it does, right? Oh, you're going to serve your whole life, and then you're going to go and be this exalted do nothing. 100%. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Oh my God. Thanks, Larry.
We agree, sir.
I agree, Larry. But that's God. God, it's like, oh yeah, God. They're gonna just like turn off and go, let's go be exalted. Yeah, I wish I could have had a better life. It'd have been fun. It'd been fun for everyone else too. I'll tell you that. Yeah, if I had gone into the LDS like 15 years ago, they'd have had a lot of fun with me. My information, and probably some already did. I mean, I've shared some online. Who knows? They could hear me in the head, maybe. Thanks, Luke. I just don't see you all heading off to be exalted. Right? It's like me asking God when will I stop sinning? And God says on your deathbed. And hang on, I'm putting some drops in my eyes. Oh God, it's making a mess. Right. And and then God's like, okay, yeah, I got you, but now, let's get serious. I got something for you to do. All right. Well, essentially, God said you're not even supposed to be here in a body. Something happened where you got stuck in a body, right? Well, that's what God said. God said you're not really supposed to, but see, God doesn't interfere at a certain level, right? Again, believe it, it's altering things. So, like, I mean, like this planet is slated to be destroyed whenever it can be. Right? Although I've given you ideas on how to fix it, I believe God still wants it destroyed. Right? Oh my God. Well, God doesn't want this planet staying. Definitely does not. This is one evil place, all of you. It's very deceptive. So again, it's actually more deceptive. I brought it before. It's more deceptive now than it was in the time of Jesus. So remember, the end times. You think about, oh my God, the time of Jesus, they were, crucifying and all, and but Paul says what? It's going to be worse. Right. But that's the deceptive factor. Now they mess your life up and you start using drugs, and then you drive your car off the road and kill 50 people. I mean, right. So again, the world's a lot more deceptive today. No, I don't see. I mean, some LDS. I mean, they might just be glory hounds. I don't know how that quorum is. Will they actually work the day in their life or not? Could be lazy, do nothing slugs, just prima donnas, you know. Like Munson too. So, well, it just you just don't turn. It just doesn't turn on. It actually intensifies in the afterlife. But I wonder if I'll go to that place where they just. I guess everybody has their own little route, the God routes. Well, I've seen visions of the place where the being explains his or her life on Earth with like I do, the way I explain things, and everybody's there to listen and learn. Oh, it's wonderful, really. It's a place of higher. Heaven is a place of higher learning. You don't have any places of higher learning here. You all just. It's like Satan always trying to steal things from God, and it's not real. You know. At this point, it's like places of lower learning, hellish behavior. And oh yeah, Trump agrees. No, we're not going to politics. Right. Thank you, Larry. A lot of people get recruited into the deep state in college, believe it or not. Thanks, Larry. Agreed. Didn't think I knew that, huh? My brother was president of his fraternity, so you know the deal, right? No, my brother's not a good person, really. Right? How many agents and officers know that? I mean, when you figure he's my brother, right? Right, Larry. Now he's always trying to manipulate me. Sometimes, like you're alone, like me, you know, I don't have anybody else, so I contact him and I accept it. But this lady's nice. Nice. I love people that smile and wave. I just love them. That's a nice lady. Saw her this morning, I think. Thank you, Larry. To Oklahoma, thinking I could get to like a Baptist church or something, or even a contemporary church or something. I couldn't get anywhere. Again, if I can't get there, then there's no way there. It's just how I would just naturally fall into a church. I'd meet a preacher or something, right? Or a preacher's wife. No, I was close to the preachers and everything in the church. I helped everyone I could, but they were dirty. Thank you, Larry. All right, where's my keys? Where are my keys? God bless you, sir. I love church. I can't believe they tortured me away. I mean, I tried. I tried getting back in Indianapolis, and they killed me. But here's my opportunity for inner city outreach, like I wanted to do. Right. Going to happen. I went to each one of these religions. I end up, within the religion, preaching Christ crucified. But I also found basis for Christ crucified to be preached. Right? They actually have, statements about Christianity. The leader of the Hare Krishna said that we accept Jesus. He's God. He's our teacher. He's our guru, our master. Yes, I. Great, Larry. Thank you, Larry. But he did the accepting part. Hey. I can't believe my Blue Cross Blue Shield letter isn't here yet. It should be here. I know I said on the phone that I expected it next week, but I actually expect it this week. It was mailed like Monday or Tuesday. All right. So quit hiding it and send it. I don't like that. There's payment for my reimbursement for my thing. Right. I wish they do electronic reimbursement.
I agree.
Doesn't make any sense not to have electronic reimbursement. You know how much money they'd probably save? Oh wait, here it is probably. Oh no, that's not it. That's immunity. The true spirit of gratitude. Yeah, just not feeling the sun. I need my, what the hell is a Mika? Insurance company? Actually, I'm still online. I forgot. I probably turned it off and turned it back on. Well, the Beehive of Holiness, or what does it say? Holiness. So yeah, the Beehive. I'd like to see their definition of that because I've been talking to the Lord about something, and I spoke to you all about how wiring in is required, and holiness just permeates. Right? No, it's not like, oh, you're not trying hard enough. It doesn't really exist. It's an illusion. Right. Well, God likes giving us credit, but it's supposed to be all positive credit, not all this negative debit. So, in fact, you should just wire in and you take on a form of the religion and that's it. Right. All right. So, didn't get that check yet. I think they mailed it from Kansas City, but maybe I'm wrong. Make sure they don't steal those pins I bought for the people that are going to work in for my baptismal. I didn't think I'd have to be baptized again. Jeez. Took care of that when I was younger, so it'd be easier. Yeah, they should. She shouldn't. Well, I guess she's allowed to take your photo, but they shouldn't be allowed, right? Okay. See, they had no policy in place, so right. That's where the ambiguity, right? And she probably, she could say, "I was just waiting for the official policy," right? Bruce Springsteen is demanding freedom for all of us. Actually, and then you just step away. Nauvoo Temple Sunstone. Hmm. Forget his name. I don't know what it did. I'm messing with somebody in their head. I don't know if they really exist. One of the LDS dudes. Well, in the afterlife, I actually have more rank than a lot of people because of the suffering I had to go through. Right. Sound familiar? No, they said it was weird. I'm sitting there, and again, the way it comes in, it's not like me because none of it makes. Sometimes it doesn't make sense and takes a long time to make sense. I just remember that it was said. I'm sitting there in my mother's like office room. It's a small office, nothing big, in New Jersey, and it's got a desk and a little bit more space, and maybe like an 8 by 8 room or something like that, or maybe even an 8 by 10. And something on my feet, and I look, and it's Jesus washing my feet with his hair, and he says, again, it could be that, it could be something. Again, how it's seen is whatever happens, happens. Right? Hobby. Well, look this way: if Jesus had short hair back then, he'd have long hair now because we all think he has long hair, especially in a vision. So Jesus is washing my feet and hanging. That's I don't know what I did, I said or thought. It was like, what's going on? Whatever. He said that Father God told him that I'm his brother, his spiritual brother, so like heavenly brother. All right. Oh my God. I don't know what recollection. Right. I know I have some, but we're not like humanoid. I don't think. I think we're like lights. So here's what it is. U.S. judge dismisses charges on against migrants caught in military zone. Oh, you have to mark it as a military zone. Right. Correct. That's what I thought it was about when I first read. Got to put signs up. And then if they say they didn't see the sign, right. Like, you know how military bases are marked? So theoretically, you have to put a fence up and signs, I think. I don't know. I mean, I do know. Right. DHS files emergency SCOTUS request after violent gang members take over ICE facility. Yeah, but that's normal, right? Uprisings at jails and stuff like that, right? But I think what's causing them to be like that is because you're threatening to send them to El Salvador, right? Right. I'm telling you, just send them back to Venezuela. Right. That's why I told you that you should. I think they said you can use Gitmo. Why don't you increase security level at some of the usually the Gitmo facility for those? Well, right now you're allowed to. You have an administrative. Again, I got to explain it all to you so you don't just do it. Well, if you're gonna, you have an administrative hearing. I guess you have it real quick. You just do it real quick. Have an administrative hearing. It's probably not 100% necessary, but CYA have an administrative hearing. Find them guilty of whatever they did by hostage threatening, hostage taking, and barricading. Then send them to Gitmo to the higher security location. Right. Thanks, Larry. No, send them on a boat for all I care. Whatever's cheaper. Gosh, the prices. I don't even believe the military costs. I don't believe it. I think somebody's blowing smoke with how much it costs to fly a military plane. It can't be that much more money than a civilian plane. Right. We agree. Somebody's blowing smoke. Thank you, Larry. Right. Have just hold an administrative hearing. I mean, you have somebody can do it. Well, again, due process. You just have hearings. I don't know who you have for a minute. You have to. You have who? How do you discipline detainees before they're deported? You have a discipline system. So maybe you need to create one if you don't have one. You have an administrative hearing. They find them guilty. Obviously, they're guilty. I mean, obviously, they can't. I guess they have to have some sort of due process that when somebody represents them there. You have to have caseworkers or somebody represent them, right? Unless they want to represent themselves. I mean, you're justified in increasing their custody level without any type of hearing, but you should have a hearing at some point, an administrative hearing. Well, can you drive them to a port and put them on a boat, or is that expensive too? I mean, you have a Navy prison ship somewhere. All right, we're still on. My phone shut down. I got to plug it in. So, what you want to do is you can order an increase in their custody level. So, this is what you need to do. I don't know how you do that, or do you do that in ICE? So, you want to have a custody level. So, you want to do that low, medium, high thing. So, you want to make sure, because now it's getting a little crazy. You want to make sure you can do custody levels, because you can alter as long as you have a system in place that has a standard where you can increase somebody's custody level, then there's no problem with it. And again, it's no problem with it anyway, but go CYA, right? So then you can increase their custody level simply based upon being part of that. If you have film footage that shows them part of it, then you can do it. Now, don't do this thing where if people were just like in their room and not part of it and staying away from it, you can't say that they were part of it. And you probably shouldn't, because you need to keep some sort of relationship with people that you have in custody. So let me see here, make sure I'm being heard. Yeah, I am. So you do that. There's prison ships out there. I don't know what it costs to run them, as far as running them from, I don't know, Miami to Gitmo or something like that, or maybe even Louisiana to Gitmo. Both locations have ports. So see if transporting them on a ship would be cheaper. My one phone's down, so I have to figure out how to do some research here. I gotta let it charge up a little bit. But when you get them to Gitmo, you should have what's called, Bureau of Prisons calls it administrative hearing. And then you read them, whatever charges, again, I don't know if you're going to charge them criminally, but you should have administrative charges for something like that. And then you take them to Gitmo and put them in the higher level facility. Well, it's like, penitentiary level, I think, at least a medium, right? I'm trying to get this thing to start up the phone. No idea what's going on here. I got that thing totally dead. they're not going to lift your thingy. I mean, that's just situation normal when dealing with mass deportations. Right. Let me see what's going on here. I got my phone plugged in, but it won't. Not my charger. There it is. There it goes. Well, Navy has some, not too big prison ships. Maybe you want to use those to transport them to Gitmo. I just don't know what it costs to run those things. And quite frankly, you could run those prison ships anywhere in the world. I mean, of course, you'd probably limit it to our hemisphere. So if you find that it's cheaper to transport via Navy prison ship, no idea why this is so low. Somebody just texted me, I guess. Why is this so low? It doesn't make any sense. Wattage is way too low. Like, ask me something. Lawrence, can we? I don't see the message. There's no way that I should have been treated like this in life. I mean, it's so illegal. However, aren't we supposed to meet tomorrow night? At the baptistry? All right, so Navy prison ship. I thought there was new. Yeah, there's new smaller detention ships, I guess. No, that's actually a prison, but these America's floating prisons. The USS San Antonio. Let's see. The USS San Antonio. I guess I'm not. But it was no, it's not a prison ship. That's landing platform. So I guess there are none. Yeah, you could retrofit probably any ship for it. Oh, so these are just the brigs. These got on the brigs. Apparently, had some terrorists. Let's see. Well, I'm sure you could probably pretty quickly convert some ships to prison ships. Right. All you have to do is install fencing, secure fencing. So any sizable common area can be converted, right? So you could actually, just take a common area, make a bunk area, right? That's fenced in, and then the officers watch from whatever post you give them, and then there's also cameras, and you have to have a control room, and that's it. I would open up Gitmo. Saudi Arabia owes me a lot. Like everything you're paying Trump, you owe me actually. To the royal family and to this entire, it's a true privilege to visit friendship. I want to wish peace to the Emir and all Qataris working together. We can help the entire region unlock its potential. So I just wanted to say it's an honor to be with you. They're really loving that new Pope.
Habemus Papam. I love, but we as Catholics have always believed, and I firmly believe in the church. Don't doubt that. The Holy Spirit is part in some way, shape, or form. I wasn't there, but I truly believe that Pope Francis was elected by that College of Cardinals in 2013 because the church at this time needs Francis.
The world. When Trump arrived in Riyadh, it wasn't just diplomacy. It looked like a core.
That's cool. And now Saudi Arabia is me believe. Right. Desert Storm on. Right. I've helped. I've put suggestions in that they used. I don't know how they got them, but they got them. Oh, right. I forgot where I was going. I have to get to. Actually, I don't know if we'll get my messages. Hopefully, you do. I gotta get to operator A. Operator A47. Like, I already you didn't put anything new there yet. I'm gonna be like multi-posting. Check to see how much it costs to transport deportees to Gitmo using watercraft. Any small ship with common areas would suffice. You would create security fenced in areas in the common areas that would be guarded by officers. That fenced in area and video surveillance. That might be cheaper than using military aircraft. You could move all of the detainees that rioted to Gitmo, higher security facility. Jesus Christ. Special Agent 47. You would officially increase their security level and hold an administrative hearing upon arrival at Gitmo. Now, you can, if you administratively find, like just by the course of your action, you have to have the system in place. Hopefully, you have something. You find that their security level is increased, of course, then you can move them to a higher security location. But when you get them there, you have a hearing and charge them with something administratively. I don't know if you have that system. If ICE doesn't have that system, they need to get it. Let's see that. That's somebody just cursed me. Told me an effort. It's one of the dangers of channeling their voices, their inner voices. Nice there. If ICE doesn't have an administrative hearing process, then they need to get one. It would need to be patterned after the Federal Bureau of Prisons administrative hearing process. I don't know who runs those places, but I think it's ICE. I mean, I don't know. Thank you, Larry. So sorry, Larry. Actually, they just have to weld it, and they weld it. It'll take them no time. The Navy's got great welders. The Navy welders can do anything. Out of here. They're saying, "Hi, Lawrence. Is there any way we can do our lesson tomorrow at 4 instead of 7:30?" Of course. However, aren't we supposed to meet tomorrow night at the baptistry? I think they forgot. No, I'm supposed to check to see. We're supposed to check to see if they have the right size stuff for me. All right, I gotta check on people I'm praying for. Thank you, Large. Thank you, sir. God bless you, Larry. How wide are these ties? They don't make ties as wide as they used to, as far as I can see. Right? You know, they don't look as nice. Like my wide ties look great. They're not overly wide, but wider than the ones they make. Larry, you have to stop right now, Larry. You must stop, Larry. Yeah, I wish I had moved to Salt Lake 10 years ago. I screwed up. I couldn't get there. I mean, I tried. Right. I was inside, but I couldn't make the physical move. Right. But when I say Salt Lake, I mean anywhere in the vicinity of Utah. 100%. I'm sure they cursed me from that location with all the things I was saying, so the watchers, knew that that would have been somewhat successful since I was already speaking all of that stuff anyway. Correct. How is that a Moroni tie? That doesn't make sense. Oh, this makes sense. This is the word. Those are youth ties. Where's the adult ties? Johnson Brothers Angel Moroni Club Tie for men. For manly men. More on I, not Moroni. More on I. Ion. Thanks, friend. But hopefully the special agent receives his message. Special Agent 47. Yeah, that might work. I just don't know what costs. It might be more money. I fly them. But I don't think so. I don't think so. Got tons of crews patrolling that area anyway. Right. These are Coast Guard welders. For the correctional, the guards, right? I mean, you can even use just ICE people, right? You don't need common areas for anything. Only going to take sporadic trips, I imagine. Now, the representation part, you're going to have to figure out how to transport lawyers, right? Public defenders of some sort. Like if you put, and maybe you're doing that, I don't know. Thank you, Larry. Yes, I'm still online. Yeah, I'm looking at I don't know how you say it, Novo Temple. Interesting. Very nice temple. Nauvoo, Illinois Temple. Just looking at the sunstone. Oh, the sun breaking through clouds. See, that's the rapture I'm talking about. It's getting too weird, more. Well, I know God, wouldn't do this to torture me, but I obviously should have been with the LDS for 20 years. Right. But again, if they block me, then there's an increased punishment, I'm sure. Jesus agrees. Well, I'm focusing on getting my health back on so I can be an active member of a church, but I don't know. We'll see how it works. Certain things are obviously not going to heal all that well, but who knows? They could. Right, thank you, Larry. One moment in time, S6 Sunstone, Pillar Statue, White Cultured Marble, Handmade Mormon, LDS. I went to bigger Sunstone. Thank you, friend. No, I should. I obviously would have. I know what I would have done. I would have traveled to all the different churches, all the different temples. Right. Correct the window, Mr. Moore. That's what you would have done. Unfortunately for them, they must go to hell now. Yeah, they're really busy. Like every time, like Satan tries to make you feel guilty about something, they just like the spirits and the angels are just like, and God, they're just like right there, going, "Well, you're still that same disabled person that couldn't even get your life on. How are you going to get anywhere, right? How am I get anywhere? I'm going to hold to the rod. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold to the rod." Believe it or not, Larry, this is the best yet. You have no idea what's going on. It's a nice Moroni. How big is that Moroni? 15-inch Moroni. 15-inch Moroni. I could put Moroni on my ark. And a sunstone. But like before, I was like, so the Jews are mad because the LDS are praying for their dead. I mean, come on. How ungrateful could you be? It's Michigan. Just act like a man. Just go, thank you. Very nice of you. You have to stop, Larry, please. Who's that? I wonder who's asked you to stop. I'll put Ronnie on my arc. Maybe I'll help charge it up so I can finish the other part. Moroni. Now, where are the young ladies, missionaries here? Where- Sun's down. It's little wonder that the sunstones were featured prominently on the Nauvoo temple, I guess you call it. To early church members, the sun breaking through clouds symbolized the dawning of the restoration and the coming of gospel light to illuminate a dark earth. Thank you, Larry. It was nice to know. I wish you were around me. It was just saints are around me. Are you here, saints? Are you around me? The morning breaks, the shadows flee. Lo, Zion's standard is unfurled. The dawning of a brighter day. Moroni's here. Now my Bubby's going to say, "There's no Moroni. There's no angel named Moroni." She goes, "There's nobody rose from the grave, Larry. Nobody." So I told God, I said, "Make sure Jesus is the first person Bubby meets in the afterlife." So Bubby, I'm sure he did it. God's great with the afterlife stuff like that. Bubby passes on, and then there's Jesus. Hello, Bubby. Who are you? I'm Jesus. Now we can sit here in your grave, or we can rise. You want to rise, Bubby? The large Moroni stone is 10 inches. Buy with GPay. Maybe I went to smaller one. Maybe if I get the 5-inch one, I could put two of them on my ark. You only got one on your temple. I'll have two on my ark. The 5-inch ones. I wonder if they, I probably should do Moroni, huh? Moroni! Maroni's kind of expensive. Maroni is kind of expensive. Well, especially this one. This one's a nice one. That's 15 inches. That's where did I put that? Top of my art guy. I have the king thing. I have to put that at the top. I think. Oh, I could do two Maronis, one on each side. That would look great. But this is too big. 15-inch Maroni is too big. Maroni. I knew Maroni. I just didn't know who he was really. At least in my body, I don't know who he is. There's the 6-inch Maroni. It's the same detail. Moronic. Yeah, I don't have to stop anything. Moronic. I could put them right next to the crown. I have to mount them a certain way from behind the eaves on that upper part. Yes, Moses thanks the LDS for praying for the Holocaust dead and baptizing them and all that. Very nice gesture there. Six-inch Moroni. 6-inch tall Moroni should be it. See if I can find one cheaper. What's the cheapest? I got one at the bookstore. Is it the same one or is it different? That one actually looks nicer. Moroni. There you go. Stop. Stop what? Stop all forward movement. So you all can get paid your blood money. Okay, here's actual photo of one that somebody received. Yeah, but I can't see it. Why don't these review images work? I'm going to the website. They actually don't look to be the gold that they're describing. They look fine. Oh, there's a way to put. I guess I could put a single Moroni up there. You double Moronis. They only have one. You have two. Moroni. Friday, May 23rd is too far into the future. Yes, Angel Munson. I believe so. What do we do here? Let's look at this one. When they don't. I don't think they commit to dates. Oh, sold out. Ships when available. What? Oh, you got it in stock. $400 US dollars. What is this thing made of? No wonder they're in stock. Who's these? Oh, that's nice. They locked up my browser. Okay, let's say 15-inch gold tone marble, regional print, 7. That's interesting. Very interesting, Moore. Very interesting. What do you think you're doing, Moore? Harry, please. Who am I ordering from here? Ugh. Here's the stupid captcha looking for cars. These photos are so fuzzy, you all have to know you're messing with people. Right. Just psychological experiment. Well, how can we tell? I can't tell if there's a car in any of that. Of course, I get the next one because I can't see it. Nobody else can either. Oh no, it's only you. You're the only one that gets fucked up. Oh, see, get out of here. They've been here long enough now. See, when I say that word, I know they're trying to push it through me. Whoa. They'll be taken to hell. What do you know? My verification capture worked. Is this legit? No, they just gave away a Christus in March. So, GMD. Oh well. See, now I'm back to normal. I have to start cursing me again. So actually, I draw the fire a little bit. I'm not supposed to, but I mean, I'm not supposed to have that kind of life. But 6-inch Moroni, will that work? Is it taboo to have two Moronis? Is it taboo to have two Moronis? No, having two Moronis, likely referring to the statues of the angel Moroni on temples, is not taboo. While it is fairly common practice for temples to have a statue of the angel Moroni on top of them, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints does not have a specific policy or requirement for their presence. Some temples may have them, while others may not due to various reasons, including building codes or changes in focus. So I can have two, right? Count them, two Moroni. Actually, there's two Moronis in the book, but they're supposed to be the same, right? Yes, the Book of Mormon features two individuals named Moroni, Captain Moroni and the Prophet Moroni. Actually, no, they believe they're the Captain Moroni. Or one of them's the Angel Moroni, right? Or something like that. Oh, so I'll have two Moronis. I'll be more scripturally correct since there are two Moronis. Yeah, I see resurrected beings everywhere, especially the Jews. I see a lot of the Jewish rabbis that were resurrected. No, if you're not really a bad person, then dying can be kind of funny. Once you pass, God's funny. They may have done that to Bobby. Had her sit in her grave until she said she wanted to be resurrected. So Jesus comes along and says, Bobby, you ready to be resurrected? Like a prophet Moroni. It's the angel Moroni. Does the angel Moroni face east? Because Larry's from the east. Yeah, the whole climber thing that fell for. They're supposed to have those things. I don't know if you lost it in the fall or. Oh, 10 hours or 12 hours. Oh my God. Or 3 died, 1 more. It's like crazy. But they're supposed to have those things, right? My phone actually has one. I think both my phones, but might be only one. Has a satellite thing, satellite transponder or something. Oh, they hooked to it. They're making the assumption that because they saw the piton on the rope and it was an old weather one, and everything else was new. So they made the assumption that it was an old piton that they hooked to, and it came out. Hmm. They plummeted for about 200 feet onto a slanted gulch and then tumbled another 200 feet before coming to rest. Oh yeah, they did have a transponder, but it was left up there somewhere. I believe they were ascending, and then they saw the storm, and they went to go back down. So it was the wrong move, I guess. I like a sounding board, a spiritual sounding board. Like, so I can heal things when they try to move the wrong words through me. Right. If I can get to it, it is. Right. Like I couldn't normally lay. I'm laying in my bed on my side. I normally couldn't do this. Over the last 6 months or so. Actually. It might mean my muscles are starting to relax. Stretch. There we go. All right, I gotta try to find the Moroni. Actually, it's not that far. It's Friday, May 23rd. That's a week. No, she's getting mad now. All right, so. I think it's the same store, actually. Do it that way, I guess.
No, it's so down there. Does the other store actually have one? This guy, this is how you know he's real. When Lambert, Benjamin Mitchell and Charles Lambert, these imposing sculptures, the sunstone, right? When he was told they were not looking, he desired to work on the temple. When he was told they were not hired looking to hire any stone cutters, he replied, I have not come to work for pay. I have come to help to build that house, pointing to the temple. Okay? How you know he's real. Josiah described his experience as follows. Near the entrance of the temple, we passed a workman who was laboring on a huge sun which had been chiseled from the solid rock. General Smith said to the man, looking up from his task, is this the face you saw in vision? Very near it, answered the prophet. There is great significance in these stones. You see? See, I didn't even know that, but like I told you, the elder that questioned me, and he's a young guy, but it's just really funny. But the elder that questioned me for the baptismal, the interview for the baptism, his likeness was in a vision. See, my whole spiritual life is like that. So they're all lying. Every place I go, there's signs. People are afraid of the government cronies. Put some of that allergy medicine in my eye right now. Geez. I lost one of my allergy things. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God. I'll